Welcome to the George FTTV YouTube channel. Today we'll discuss all things TB YouTube channel. Today we'll discuss all things trades and targets and strategy going forward. Definitely need to get as many points on the field as we want. That's the goal. So hopefully we can come up with something that we like. So still not quite sure on trades. I sort of know a few players that I want. Like I know, Sexton, James Jordan will go out and maybe someone else. But which is the premium that we want? Because there's options left, right, and center. Which rookie do we want? Do we want them now? Do we want them next week? So yes, and we'll go from there. So we're ranked about 6K, and I guess the holes in the team are quite clearly still carrying Reed and Hoare. Used 8 trades, haven't fixed them. Still have Sexton. Bit of mismanagement. The windy trade was into the suspension, which forced a donut. Didn't work out as we liked, but is what it is. Probably a bad trade to begin with, so that's all right. But we'll look at some break-evens at the moment. And I was just looking. I've recorded the first 5 minutes of this video, and then my computer just screen went black for 5 minutes. But I was looking at Will Graham. So I think, well, as you can see here, a lot of people are trading in closely because you're going to want him anyway. It's just why not go early, bank a bit of extra money, the 102k. So people feel safe going him early, and he looked really good, and I think he'll keep playing. Braden Ellis hasn't been that great on the wing, so he's a good one to get in. Do you go him this week? Do you go him next week? I mean, whenever it suits, I guess. So I'm just looking at other options. I like Gallagher. He's too expensive now. Where would have been a decent rookie. Brown is such an annoying miss. Would have loved to have him. I prefer him to like a Will Graham, but oh my man, that's painful. Missing him, but Sharp's probably too expensive. Ramsden, I'm not too sure on, to be honest. Let's have a look at Ramsden. Why does it have group 1 there? Okay. Ramsden. What's his job security like? 71. Togg's pretty good. Kicked a goal. Bit of backup Ruck. I think the Hawthorn supporters have been like, nah, don't worry about it, but I don't know, maybe, we'll see. Give him a second chance, but I think the concern is Will Graham, so I was sort of planning to get him in. I look at his draft profile, I see endurance, and then I see where is he? 66. Okay, SuperCoach. 67. I see 66% Tog. I don't love it. I used it pretty well. Got 3 frees. Scored 67. Had the best roll probably possible. I'm not sure. I'm not sold. What's his numbers? 19 touches a game. I don't like this, to be honest. I didn't really pay enough attention to him during the game, but I don't think he's going to make much money. I think there's a bad flaw here. I see improvements in endurance. I mean, this is all great, but endurance, low Tog. Is he sub-risk? I mean, they subbed out Humphrey. Like, why wouldn't they? Like you look at this list, okay, Berry, they could sub out. They could sub out a Reed or a Walter if they feel too tall. I don't think they sub out Erlen because he plays a key role down back. I feel like they could sub, like they've subbed Humphrey. That's probably pretty stiff. It was going alright. They sub Roses? Probably not. I don't know. So I do feel like he could be subbed out. So that's why we got to plan ahead and make sure we grab a decent rookie next week. So what other decent ones are next week? I guess Lohman is one you could grab this week. I still haven't done enough research on him. Warner's not best 22. I think when the rookies come, I think you just got to take them. Okay, so I like Closey. I'm not sure on Graham. I'm not sold, but we'll get another look at him. But I feel like we should plan for him. Lafau, what did he score again? we searched this in our video 49. I'm not quite sure if I want to plan for Graham or not. When the Gold Coast play, they play Saturday. Ramsden will be there, but not sure on him. How old's Ramsden? Hawthorn. He's 20. 20-year-old key position taken in the mid-season draft. Let's look at VFL stats. And there's also one thing I want to note as well on Closey and Comben. Ramsden. 64. I mean, that's not bad for key forward. Any hit-outs here? 5. How do you go last year? I mean, 73. He's rucking a bit there, so it's probably bullshit stats, so I can't really read into that. Well, if Ramsden does, like, say 60 plus, if you take out the hit-outs away in the VFL, what did Graham do? Oh, he did 104. 28 touches. I mean, maybe he'll be alright then, if he can do 104 in the VFL. I guess we'll plan for him at the moment. I'm a bit worried though, to be honest. Not sold. Like, I wouldn't be upset if I miss someone like him, but who knows. So, we'll look at upgrade targets. So I think there's an opportunity here to grab a cheap defender. We grabbed Whitfield, and I think he'll be alright, but he does worry me. I don't think I've ever had Whitfield and it go smoothly. It's always head knock, miss a week, hold him, something goes wrong, whatever. But in terms of cheap defenders, I'm not paying for Luke Ryan. I've booked in one player I'm paying up for, and that's Zach Merritt. As I've said on this channel, like, really, you should be going for cheaper value options. But I mean, Merritt's cake fixture hasn't started yet, and he's the number one scorer in fantasy at the moment. I just want to own him, and he can be captain option too. Let's look at defenders between, I don't know, let's go for 390 for 560. So you got McGovern. Too much injury history for me, but looking good. Roll's nice. Intercepting a lot. And kick-ins, using him as an outlet. So, look, he's going to score, but is he going to stay fit? I've used too many trades. I can't risk this. Whitfield is going at 109. Back half of the year, 107. Hopefully he continues to do that. Saints this week should be a nice matchup. Just a 103 on them last year, so maybe it's like not as good as we could hope for, but see how he goes. Jordan Clark's been really, really good. This 84 was probably 100 until he gave away a 50 at the end of the game, which I'm guessing he would have lost like 15 points because it lost the game for them pretty much. What are the kick-ins like? I think Ryan was taking most of them in the first few weeks. Surely Aish takes some too. How does this work? Low kick-ins, but averaging like 110 if you didn't give away the 50. I don't know if this is sustainable or not, but he looks really good. I like him for fantasy. I think he'll do like 95 in fantasy. I think I'll just sit out because I'm not sure. But he looks good. I'd be happy if I had him. Started with him. How is Heppel averaging 107? That's weird. McGrath's averaging 101. How does this work? Yo, would you go Elliot Yo? Look, you don't have to listen to me on injury-prone players. I am pretty stubborn, but he's had a full preseason and he looks good. And I wouldn't blame you if you brought him in. It's just not for me with this history, but maybe he looks really good. Maybe he can get through okay. He looks much trimmer and leaner than last year. Even though it was all the talk he had his power back and everything last year, I think he looks better than last year. So if you had him, you're happy. Hinge is averaging 97. He's a bit inconsistent by foot for my liking. Hayden Young, I'm considering bringing in. It's Hayden Young or Nas, I think, that I like. So, let's do 40 wire. So, alright, we'll do compare. Just look at his stats. So let's do like a decent mid. Let's do his teammate, Caleb Sarong. We'll see what his stats look like. So 25 touches a game. I mean, it's pretty good. He's marking the ball. He's tackling a lot. He's kicking inside 50. He's giving away a fair few frees. That's not normal. So maybe there's upside there. Give away less frees. Contested rate's not good. 9 contested possessions, pretty poor. Let's look at Andy's. Andy's never been super high. I mean, similar to Andy, I guess. He's going 110. 7 clangers is overs. Clearances are really good. Togs, 78. That's okay. You want more than that. I mean, it reads pretty good, to be honest, looking at the stats. There has to be an improvement in clangers and frees against. He's averaging 95, so you would think that 1 less free, maybe 2 less clangers a game. What's that? Like 105? And that's what he did 110 plus in the midfield, so we did panic on Young. Didn't look great, like really looked a bit lazy out there, to be honest, but not anymore. 25 touches a game isn't super high, but does tackle a lot. So a bit like in the Steel mold, maybe. I'm still can accumulate, but you know, still in his best years wasn't averaging 30, but did have high tackles. So he could be a good in. And then there's Nas. Nas is killing it in fantasy. The amount of switch marks he gets, like why wouldn't you pass to him? But I mean, I feel fine owning him. I don't know if you've seen the Saints run. So, look, I mean, this isn't great, I guess. You got GWS away, big ground, so it might be okay, actually. Port away, not super confident. I mean, it's not too bad. But then look at this. They have their bye. Marvel, Adelaide Oval, Marvel. Doesn't leave Marvel after, like, they travel once. After the bye, like what is this? And then people complaining about Crows and Port getting an extra home game. Like, this is ridiculous. But I'm all for it for fantasy or in SuperCoach with a Nas or a Sinclair or Steele or Rowan as well. So that's a great run. So I like Nas. I mean, if we had to pick someone, it's Nas or I think it's Young at that price. I don't think we'll pay for. We already have Whitfield. I probably wish I saved the 50k and went Young on Nas in hindsight. And then there's Nick Martin. Let's put Essendon Nick Martin, Nicholas Martin, and then Saints Nas. All right, so Nas is getting. Oh, let's look at the SuperCoach average. So it's similar. Time on ground, big advantage to Nick Martin. 34 touches a game. That's ridiculous. A few more marks for Nas. Clangers 4.5. So I think that's probably the norm for Martin. Maybe 1 less. So really, like this should be advantage to Nick Martin. I don't know if I want to read into it, but I read Bomber Blitz, I read Big Footy, and a lot of them, most of them want him up the ground. If Nick Martin's role changes, like I don't think I can afford to deal with that issue. I think it'll stay though. If you had to ask me, will it stay or will it move at some point? I wouldn't be surprised if it moves, but I think Brad Scott's going to back him in and he likes it. It's kind of Brad Scott's move and he wants to back that in. Probably takes away a bit from Redmond, and Ridley is, like, he's done 3 quads in a row. That's pretty bad. So do we go Nick Martin, Nas or Young? It should be Nick Martin. Nick Martin's putting 10 on them in fantasy. But is there a risk, even if it's 10% risk of him moving at some point? That's something I can't really answer though. I don't really know, but I think Brad Scott said that he's improving defensively. I'm not sure I saw that, to be honest, but I think they're just going to back him in. So it'll be Nass, Nick Martin, or Hayden Young in. Not sure. Hayden Young has the nice buy. And I guess for Nick Martin, I guess they're all... What's Nass break even? 88. So I guess he's like no rush to get him. So there's all these 500k defenders that you can get. Tom Stewart's coming down. I think he'll be a good target. Like he can do 110 plus for sure. Probably better than these guys, but like who knows? I feel like watching Tom Stewart. This is just me. I feel like he's going to regress a little bit with age, but could be wrong. Did drop a few easy intercepts, so yeah, definitely could be wrong there. Sicily. I want to check something. So I think Sicily is one where if Amon moves up the ground, look at Amon's heat map. Let's go kick-ins. Hawthorn. If Amon moves up the ground, because Weddle's not scoring super well, I think Scrimshaw's scoring okay, and Impey's like pretty mess scoring, I think. So if Amon moves up the ground, it might be a go to Sicily, because he's taking heaps of kick-ins. Okay, so... Gee, why was his tog so low there? So he's getting a lot of touches on the wing. Bit more halfback. Did feel that he did move up a bit more yesterday, just watching. It's more halfback. So if they keep moving him up and they take him out of... I think it's possible because they have so many users back there. And who's their winger at the moment? They're playing Morrison. I can't remember. I don't even know who their winger is. Is it Josh Ward? It's Connor McDonald playing wing. I think he's more half forward at the moment. Like, it just makes sense to put Amon on the wing a bit more. But they've persisted with this all preseason at halfback, so maybe they just keep that. But I'm interested in Sicily if we see Amon move up the ground, because I love LeBron James Sicily. And his Sicily's 3 round is like 100, which is not too bad. But it also has this Essendon game, where they just hogged the ball. Oh no, it was against Melbourne, sorry. Where I think Sicily was on like 50 or 60 at halftime, at quarter time, just because they were chipping around and playing a dumb game style that Sam Mitchell admitted to was the wrong play style. So, okay, trades for this week, and there's also one more very important player that we want to discuss in Lloyd Meek. So, a few people are not sure what to do here. First, I just want to show you guys one thing. I think I said this before, then I forgot to say it. Forgot to show you, but just look at some VFL stats very quickly. So, for me, I'm pretty keen on Combin. I'm pretty keen on Closey. Now, Closey, you definitely want at that price. It's just, do you want to pay for Combin? He's playing third tall interceptor. So if we look at Combin here, he's averaging 19 disposals, 10 marks, 2 tackles in the VFL, 93 average basically. That's pretty good. It is VFL, but if we look at Closey, I think it's like that. Ted, okay, that's not the right one. Let's go 2023, and maybe he's improved since here, but oh my god. Okay, Sam Closey, just a 71. So for me, it's more likely, unless he's having a massive breakout, he's averaging here, what's that? 17 disposals, 5.6 marks, 70 fantasy. Combin, it is 2 games, but averaging 92 fantasy. So plus 22 fantasy for Combin. Combin's intercepting, so I dare say his SuperCoach would be much higher. We saw what he could do. So for me, I'm thinking I want to go Combin first because everyone's going to go Closey and people might go Combin next week. But really, the odds are that Combin should outscore him this week. If we look at the matchup, who do Gold Coast have? Hawthorn. Great, that's a good matchup for him. And then GMHBA Combin. So they got Dawson, they've got Core, and then Combin Interceptor. So maybe Combin plays on the third. Does he play on Jezza or Hawkins? That's something I'll need to research. I think he'll play third tall though, surely. But yeah, obviously injury risk and you're paying up, but sounds like he's had a good preseason, and you know, if Common can put up a ceiling game and Closey has a quiet one when everyone goes for him, that to me looks like an opportunity for points, and at this rate I'll just do anything for a few extra points, so we'll look at that. And then we'll touch on Lloyd Meek. Excuse me, this video is more like I'm not looking at a lot of... Okay, I guess we can go through mids as well, but I think forwards we're just chilling unless you want Flanders. Defenders I just went over, the cheap ones, and I guess you just pick whoever you like, but yeah, Lloyd Meek, negative 14 break even. Like, it's not going to take a lot for him to make 100k. This is a bad matchup for him. Wits first up is what it is. Cherry, I think Cherry's not going to be the most easy matchup. And he did lose the hitouts to Collingwood this week. I think he was about 50 to 30 or something against Cox and Cameron. But they're two of the most restrictive for whatever reason. They have really high hit-out percentage. So like Cox is like 50+%. I think Cameron is like 45+. They're two of the top guys for hit-out percentage at the moment. So this will be a hard matchup. But he still scored 130 on them. I mean, I've been listening to a lot of Meek Mill today, and obviously he hasn't had the best month in the media, but I think I'm going to do it because, now, would I recommend doing it? I don't care what you do for your team. You do what you want. I don't like making recommendations because it's each to their own. You make your own assessment. I can just tell you what I'm doing, and yeah, you can listen to other people's take too. Obviously, it's a bit risky. So Sam Darcy will get DPP, tracking for Ruck DPP, so maybe he can cover us if things go wrong. For me, what I saw, like the way I see it is, this is the best in the R2 slot. I guess people have like an English or going up to English or Rowan. But the R2 slot, the best points per dollar right now is Lloyd Meek. So for me, that's a big advantage. And if he can score not far off Rowan and English, if he can get within 20, 25 of them every week, which I think, I don't know if it's a conservative estimate or not, probably sounds realistic, but you know, if he can average 100, because he averaged 87 with 64% ruck time back in Freo. So if now he's getting 75, 80% ruck time. So if he can bump that up to 100, you get 100 averaging play for 350 instead of having to pay 700 for English or 600 for Rowan. I'll be very happy with that. The risks are, do they bring Reeves in? I mean, Meek was unbelievable. How can they play him? But who knows? So for me, it's like not a necessary risk, but actually no, it is a necessary risk for me because I need to make up ground, and this is the type of move that can really pay off. It can go pear-shaped, but worst case, he's got negative 14 break even. Like, as long as he's solo this week, he's going to make probably 50k, 40, 50k with a 70 score, whatever it is, so, or 80 score. But we're not too worried about the score this week. We're in it for the long run. So, for me, Meek, I like him. I think he's good ruck, and he's built, I think the new rule sort of suits him. He's 110 kilos or something, 203 centimeters. He can play bully ball. Like, we've seen that a bit with Sherry. Well, Sherry was looking pretty gassed on the weekend, but we've seen that with like a Briggs, sort of like Gorn can do it. So I think Meek can sort of go in that mold, and his work. I think the thing I liked the most was the work rate. So getting up and down the ground. But look, Reeves comes in, we're screwed. It's as simple as that. So I'm doing it. We're going to do it. So I feel like the upside is worth the risk. So we'll go Meek. And I don't think, the numbers are there from previous Ruck time. So, and last year is a bit hard to read into Ruck time because there's so much in the sub games. He spends a bit of time forward. His time on ground's really, really low. So it's I can't really get a proper read on last year, but at least the year before with Freo, you can kind of, it's a bit more clear when he was solo rucking. So that's Meek. I'm not expecting 130 this week, expecting a 75, 80, and then after that should be a bit better against like Cherry and Grundy and stuff like that. So we'll make that play. Hopefully he can average 100 for us. Sure, it'd be easier to throw $250 into Rowan, but if we commit to Rowan, we can't go English, but I think Rowan won't be far off anyway, so that's fine. Now the next trade, well, we have Alex Sexton. Now we can go Closey or Cobbin. We have to go one this week because we're going to get the other next week. Or could we go Lohman and get both Cobbin and Closey? Now, as I was saying before, Cobbin has the better VFL numbers, the highest ceiling, and I feel like Closey overperformed and Cobbin obviously overperformed with the 129, 25 touches, but I wouldn't be surprised if he averaged this in the VFL with 92 fantasy and intercepting, maybe like a 110 in SuperCoach. So for me, I like the Cobbin play this week. I think it's a lot less risky to go to Closey because you're 100% going to get Closey, whereas you're probably, I don't know, 70% going to get Cobbin, I guess. He's got this 130 in his system now, so he's going to make a stack of money off the bat. Injury risk is there, but I do like Cobbin. Now, the next thing we do is, who do we get rid of? So we got rid of, we need to get rid of James Jordan. So that's an easy one to get rid of, although House isn't making money, so we could get rid of him. So we can get anyone we want. Now, obviously, we want Zach Merritt. He's got a tougher matchup in the Dogs historically. I don't know if Dogs are still a hard matchup, to be honest, but this history isn't 660k worth of points. But then after that, the Crows, Collingwood, beautiful record on those two. That's when we strike and get Zach Merritt. And you can keep going for value, but I just think he's going to go berserk and I want him in my team. So I planned for him to get him in from the start of the season and he didn't drop. It is what it is. So it's Young, Nas, or Nick Martin. This is going to be a tough choice. If you could tell me that Nick Martin was going to play halfback for the rest of the year, which he probably will, that would make my decision a lot easier. I'm thinking Young. I don't know if that's the right call or not. I need you guys' help. What do you think? But Young, Ness, or Nick Martin. I think the thing with Nick Martin, I think Young sort of helps us structure a bit, because if we go ahead and Young, now we have a bit better setup. Whereas if we went Nick Martin, then we'd go Merritt. We'd be benching Roberts or Sanders next week. Young has the better buy, so yeah, I don't know. Nick Martin has a nice matchup against the Dogs. I feel like this could go pear-shaped, picking the wrong one. I think it should be Nick Martin, but I don't know. We'll go Hayden Young for now. So that's what we'll do at this stage. We'll see what happens. I'm quite happy to take the Meek risk, and obviously it is a risk, but it's one of those plays. It's a bit like Sam Darcy. I wasn't sure of his job security, because if he has a poor one, lob kicks 5 again in the VFL, they could make that switch, whatever Bevo's thinking. But you look at the talent of Darcy, you were really impressed with him in his first game. You back him in to perform, kicks 3 goals with 55% TOG, so he's not getting dropped. Looked really good out there. I guess he maybe was gassed. That could be a reason to drop him, but regardless, they're a better team with him in the team. And it's a bit like Meek. So, like, what's Meek thinking right now? He went to Hawthorn thinking he'd get more ruck time. Didn't really happen. He's now got this opportunity with Reeves underperforming. To be honest, like, Reeves, he's 25 and he really hasn't been able to take that. Like, the rate of him, his improvement is pretty much non-existent to, year on year. So, whereas Meek hasn't quite been given the opportunity, Reeves has. So, Meek was good 2 years ago at Freo, so I'm just going to back him in to perform. Like, he's no slouch, Meek, but again, I know the risks, but that gives me, a stack of money in the bank to get Zach Merritt and potentially Petrarca the week after, but paying $650 2 weeks in a row, that can't end well because that's going to really sting our future upgrades. So, look, I think we'll treat ourselves or spoil ourselves and go the one. Nick, we'll go Zach Merritt with the nice run. Wouldn't be surprised if Nick Martin probably could match him, to be honest, but yeah. I do feel like we should probably go Nick Martin, but we'll make a call on Young versus Nass versus Nick Martin, and we'll see how we go. But that's how we'll line up. I think next week we'll get another look at Graham. We'll do a bit of research on him, but hopefully he comes through for us. If not, maybe there's somebody else. Maybe the Richmond rookie, McAuliffe. He was subbed, but his points per minute was not too bad. But maybe he could come through. We'll look at a Ramsden, although Hawthorn supporters seem to be saying no at this stage. So we'll look at what other options we have. We'll get rid of probably a Howes, carry Hall and Reed on the bench, which is less than ideal, but they could come back in 2 or 3 weeks. But if they don't, then unfortunate. But I think we just got to upgrade around them, unfortunately. And some people will have a better rookie in this spot, like a Sharp with a better structure, and that's where we're going to get killed. But do the best we can. So, I guess one more thing. I guess we'll do defenders ranked. So this is sort of confusing me because I'd like to use this as a guide of what defenders we like. So, all right, we'll go average. So D1, I think you go Ryan Sheasel. Go Ryan Sheasel. D1, D2. Now who's D3? You probably go Dacos. I think he'll bounce back eventually. You're not putting the points up right now, but I think these are the 3 you want. And then it's very much whatever floats your boat. Now, Tom Stewart really should be in this bracket. What's Stewart averaging? 104. And he dropped heaps of intercepts, so this can go up. I do feel like against the Crows, he did get force-fed the ball, so I feel like that game isn't really sustainable, and he's played the Saints. So really, apart from this second game where they kicked the ball down his throat the entire night, scoring's not that great, but it's only the age regression risk, which I always worry about with players like that are 31. So, is it actually real, or is it just? Am I just making stuff up? Like, is it easy? He'll bounce back to 110 plus, but I don't know. Who's D4? Whitfield, Houston, Jordan Clark, I guess. Nass, Stewart, Sinclair. Marquinhos playing really well. This one, obviously not going to be top 6, but he's playing exceptionally well as a key defender, just intercepting. He's a general back there, pretty much. So one that I didn't recognise early enough. I think Sicily will be top 6 if Amon moves out of there and stops hogging every single kick in. Sicily, I'm quite interested in. If Amon goes wing next week, I'll probably he should should keep dropping. He's one we'll look at, Sicily. Ideally, we get 7 defenders, and Hayden Young or like a Nick Martin at some point will be D7, M9. So I guess D4 probably should be Stewart, to be honest. D5, is it Whitfield? Is it? I mean, I'm just going to skip McGovern. He's probably in there if he keeps fit, but just don't trust him to stay fit. It's probably Nick Martin. Martin's probably D4, to be honest. It's just whether he stays in the role. D6, probably. I think it's Young or Nas. I think Young's ceiling is slightly higher. And then D8. Maybe Sicily here. I think D9, probably Houston. Houston confuses me. He needs to be like extremely efficient to score, which he is every week, but I can see why the down games happen. I don't know where to put Jordan Clark. I don't know where to put Yo. Maybe like Yo. Where's Jordan Clark? Maybe with Houston. I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know if I've got this order right. I don't think I have, but yeah, it's kind of confusing me which defenders to pick. I mean, really, off this list, I should be going Nick Martin, but it's something I'll think about during the week. It's just a roll risk, if that's even a real risk, but that's what we'll do. Yeah, I'm pretty keen on combing over Closey this week, just to hopefully net a few extra points if it does, but if it doesn't, then we'll look like an idiot, and combing gets injured, then season over, uninstall, all that, but that's the video. Thank you for watching, and podcast will be tomorrow. I think we left it a bit late tonight, so we'll do that.